Here's where things start to heat up though. Some information that wasn't supposed to get leaked, and it's been leaked out. I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing for Texas, but I don't think it's a good thing either. I knew it. I knew it was too good to be true. And I know what you're sitting there saying. Yo, Matt, what are you referring to? And I'm talking about the Arch Manning situation with him going to Texas. Before we go any farther, I do want to say, I don't know if I personally think there's anything intrinsically wrong with this. It doesn't really rub me the wrong way. However, a lot of other people, they're not too fond of it. Check this out, and this is so hard to wrap my mind around. Texas, when they was recruiting Arch Manning, on his recruitment visit, they spent $280,000. Let me say that number again for my people in the back. $280K. Wow. Maybe that doesn't shock you, but I'm going to tell you this right now. It's what they spent the money on that's going to shock you. Some of the stuff they did for Arch Manning, I've never even heard of this. It goes without being said, we got an interesting video for today. You better strap in. And like I said earlier, not too many people think this is good for the sport of college football. It's hard for me to disagree with that statement because it almost seems like you're straight up buying kids now out of high school. Kids are no longer going to a college that fits their play style or what's best for them. They're going where they can get the most money. To go along with that, I gotta throw this in there as well. I can't blame them. I'd be doing the exact same thing, and so would most of y'all. We're not doing no intro, none of that. You know the drill. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. We're on the road to 300K. And if you are subscribed, I greatly appreciate you. All right, Matt, blah, 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 shut the crap up. Let's get into it. First things first, I don't even know how I forgot to bring this up or mention it, but it's already Wednesday, and we haven't even talked about the AP poll. Most of you know by Monday or at least Tuesday, I react to the AP poll and we give our thoughts and move on. I don't know why I didn't go over it. It doesn't matter. It is what it is. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it, but I do want to read off this tweet. The AP poll, there wasn't too much movement. There's not too much to talk about. However, look what Texas A&M tweeted out. The AP poll is ridiculous. How did we cause Miami to move down 12 spots, but we only move up 1? Makes no sense. Should be ranked in the top 20. Screw the rankings. Just go out and win. Man, oh man. You would think losing to Appalachian State. Let me say that again. Losing to Appalachian State would humble Texas A&M, yet it hasn't. I mean this in the nicest way possible. Texas A&M, you are the last team and program to be crying and worrying about your ranking. As a matter of fact, instead of crying how you're not ranked inside the top 20, you should be appreciative that you're even ranked at all, because you shouldn't be. I am asking a genuine question. Do these Texas A&M fans actually think that win over Miami was impressive? I watched that game from start to finish. The only reason you won it is because Miami fumbled a punt, which led to 7 points for your offense, and they also missed 2 field goals. That was one of those classic games where nobody deserved to win, but somebody had to. Hold on, y'all done pissed me off. Let me bring up the cold hard facts. I always like bringing up the facts because you can't dispute them. It's not my opinion. Miami had 392 total yards. Texas A&M had 264. Exactly, that's what I thought. You had no business even winning this game, so shut up, A&M fans. I'm gonna stop talking about that right now before I get any angrier, and also gotta throw this in there, some minor news. Nebraska has fired their defensive coordinator. I don't think this comes to a shock to anybody. Your defensive coordinator was about as bad as your head coach, Scott Frost. Giving up nearly 700 total yards of offense against Georgia Southern and 45 points, and the next week also giving up 49 points against Oklahoma, when in reality, they probably could have scored 100 points. Yeah, you deserve to be fired. Once again, it's deja vu. Same situation with Scott Frost. I don't know who's going to be the next guy to be the defensive coordinator, but here's what I do know. It can't be much worse. I did want to share that though, because I had a couple people want me to talk about that, and I don't know what y'all want me to say about it. There's nothing to talk about. It does not matter who the next defensive coordinator is, it can't get worse. Moving on to the main encore, the main topic, the main reason you clicked onto this video, good old Archie Arch. I'm not giving you the long and drug out backstory. If you want to see what happened with his recruitment process, go watch some of the previous videos. To make an extremely long story short, he is committed to Texas. Here's where things start to heat up though. Some information that wasn't supposed to get leaked, and it's been leaked out. I don't necessarily think this is a bad thing for Texas, but I don't think it's a good thing either. A while back when Arch Manning and some other recruits and players were taking their visit, Texas spent $280,000 in 48 hours. And what they spent the money on, it's unbelievable. Here is just some of the main stuff they spent the money on. Airfare and cars, which is acceptable. 5-star hotels, not 4-star, 5-star hotels. Parents get an open bar, custom cakes for all the recruits, Topgolf, and ice sculpture and a lake cruise. I understand the hotel, the custom cakes, and the cars because you got to provide that, and even Topgolf, I get it. But an ice sculpture, a custom ice sculpture for each player? Come on, man. Do some of y'all understand how much an ice sculpture is? I have an article that I think it shows us the actual price, and we'll check that out in just a second. I have the totals pulled up right here, and I find this really fascinating. Let's check it out. They spent $21,000 on travel for the recruits and their families. That included airfare for those out of state. Texas also spent $46,696 on 34 hotel rooms at the Four Seasons Austin. Wow, that's a lot of money for hotel rooms. Under that, they spent $17,000 on a lunch buffet. I would say those three things I just read off, that's okay. That's a necessity. They gotta have rooms to stay in and they gotta have food to eat. But here's where things start to get out of hand. Texas spent $1,813 on custom cakes and other snacks in each recruit's hotel room. Alright, not the biggest deal, but you don't really need that. Here's where things start to get pricey. $29,000 on a dinner buffet at DKR. Don't know what that is. That included a flatware rental, drinks, and an ice sculpture. Okay, so there's our number right there. Somewhere in there, the ice sculpture tallied up to $29,000. I get the dinner buffet. You gotta have that, but do you really need an ice sculpture? I mean, could you imagine that you're Arch Manning, you're walking into a dinner, and you just see this huge and massive ice sculpture of yourself sitting there? And I also gotta assume it had to be melting pretty quickly because it's been hot, and I know it's hot in Texas. Right under that, this has nothing to do with the players, but the parents in total spent nearly $12,000 on an open bar. There was also another hotel buffet at 2 a.m. in the morning. What is this? Who needs a hotel buffet at 2 a.m.? The next morning, $10,000 on a breakfast buffet and $10,000 with a trip to Topgolf. Later that night, $37,000 on dinner, which was a bunch of steaks. And last but not least, they spent $2,000 on an hour-long boat cruise and $32,000, well, $31,600, I rounded it up, on a bar tab for the parents. Yeah, I think it's safe to say Texas is doing pretty good when it comes to the NIL. I have a very, and I mean a very, strong opinion about this, but I think I got to mention this first. 3 days after that $280K visit, Arch Manning, he made it official. Coincidence? I think not. That $280K, it was worth it. You do got mixed feelings and emotions about this, just like this person says. This $280K gonna turn into millions for that university. That's how they were able to spend that much, LOL. Under that, the return on that investment is way more. Do this for every event, not just Manning. Here's a good comment. Texas football revenue is $146 million per year, and that will go up with Manning. If they spent $10 million to get him there, it would still be well worth it. There is thousands, and I mean thousands of comments like that. You get the point. Let me give you my opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, you might not like what I'm about to say, but it's the cold, hard truth. What I just showed you, what Texas did by spending $280K to get Arch Manning, that's what I like to call a return on your investment. They're going to make more than that $280K back in one start by Arch Manning. They might make that back in ticket sales and parking for the game alone. And that doesn't count how much they're going to get paid from people just tuning into the games on TV. Do some of y'all understand how many people are going to tune in to watch Texas play? Not because it's Texas, but because Arch Manning is a quarterback? It's not going to be Texas fans, and I'm going to let you know I'm from Alabama, and everyone around here wants to see how he's going to play. What Texas did on that recruiting visit, it's smart. And if you're mad about this or you're hating on it, you're only mad because your team can't do the same thing. There's no reason to be mad or upset about it. It's great marketing. It's the same thing with Nick Saban. Alabama's paying him $11 million per year, and he's probably generating not just a football team, but that entire university upwards to $100 million per year. You got people from Oregon, California, Utah, Wyoming, Idaho going to Alabama not to play football, but just be a student because of how good the football team is and Nick Saban. Think about that. The same thing's going to happen with Arch Manning. You're going to have a lot of people that are graduating high school. They're going to want to be a student at Texas just because Arch Manning is there and the football team's doing good. You got to think about it. It's much deeper than the football team. This helps out the university. I think this is a smart move, and it's a great move by Texas, and it worked. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Like always, I'm very curious. Let me know your thoughts down below, but right away, Millie!